Hey, what's up? It's Doug Cunnington here. I'm going to talk about improving content, existing content for niche and authority sites. And hopefully, people will be joining in a second and saying, hey, Doug, I can hear you. Everything's awesome. But it remains to be seen yet. Let's see here. Are we working? Are we rolling here? I think we are. But it's always hard to tell. Hopefully we'll see the chat. I see Wesley's on there. What's up? Good to see you. This is like a repeat from last week. So this is a popular topic, apparently, I realized, because it got roughly twice as many views as like a normal day. So I got twice as many views. I didn't do any additional promotion or anything like that. So we are in a different location. So last week I tried to do this at a coffee shop and it was a total wreck. So I thought, number one, that I was going to be able to do a live stream from my phone outside, which would have been a little bit cooler. But I realized I couldn't do that. And I just went to the corner of the coffee shop, which was about like 25% full. As soon as I hit start the live stream, like 30 people came in, it got really noisy, and it was a total wreck. So yeah, so we're here today. Clean audio. I got the good mic. It's very close to my face. We have Sarah on. Thank you. Vincent, what's up? Thank you for letting me know. And Leo, glad you made it on today. So we'll get into it. I'm working on tightening the videos up a little bit, especially the live streams. It's kind of cool because we have the Q&A going back and forth, but I will tell you I am working on a lot of new content, or at least like listing out the ideas. I haven't shot really any of it yet. Shorter form, so these are going to be like in the 5 to 7 minute range, so it's like more palatable for the people that actually are unable to watch like super long videos and stuff, which I can appreciate. Most of the videos that I make are longer than what I would personally watch. So once that occurred to me through good feedback from people like you all here, I realized, hey, I should shorten these videos. The sweet spot is actually in the like 5 to 8 minute range, something like that. It may actually be a little bit longer than that, but I have such a huge amount of long form content, some like 90 minutes long, that I really want to hit this like 5 minute range and do better. So yeah, Wesley says shorter form is better. It depends on what you're looking for, but I definitely agree. I mean, it needs to be under 10 minutes. So I'm going to be working on that. The thing is, you got like a portion of it is long form, especially these live things. I think I do a reasonably good job. At least I'm comfortable doing it. And there's no editing involved. That's good. But to do the shorter form, you actually have to, usually write a script. You can't ramble on, and you got to cut out all the fat. It's usually a much tighter, more powerful piece of content, but it's hard to say something in short form. So XENet's on, and let's go ahead and get started. Again, this is kind of a repeat from the other week, but I think it is useful. So this is about improving content on authority sites. For niche sites, this is informational how-to type content as well as affiliate interviews. So it actually applies for both, and it works equally well for both of those things. So first thing to cover is when you should go back and improve the content versus just letting it stand. So there are, like all good questions, the answer to this is it depends, but I'll tell you what I do. So a lot of this is focused around the keyword golden ratio. If you're not familiar with the keyword golden ratio, look it up. It's on the channel, and you'll be able to get more information, exactly how to do it. And it's a way to find keywords that's data-driven, and it lets you know which keywords are basically like a small amount of competition so you could rank fast. So I usually publish like a large amount of content, and then I will come back in about 2 to 6 months, right? So there's no hard rule, but I usually let the content sit and sort of age a little bit for at least 2 months. So 8 weeks, we let it sit because rankings move, and I just want to publish a lot of stuff and see what works well. Then I come back and I look at what's ranking, like not quite #1, but maybe it's like in the top 20. So ranking somewhere between like 20th and #2. And then usually I'll go to SEMrush to pull that data, but you can go to Webmaster Tools, the Search Console, and get the same kind of data. Then you basically prioritize that list. I like to start with the highest ranking first. So I'd start at everything at ranking #2, and then I'll go back and assess that content, figure out like what can be done. I'm about to tell you the 3 things that I like to do to improve that content and hopefully, improve the rankings, get more long tail traffic, and just generally get more traffic to this, like that particular page. And I see, looks like we're getting a few more people on. By the way, if you have the opportunity and you're enjoying the video, please click the thumbs up. I would appreciate it. And let's get into the 3 things you can do. So let's assume that it is like a product review affiliate type article. At that point, I like to take a look at the products that are listed. Now, I usually for the initial publication of the post, I'll just put like one product on that post. Say it's like the best post-it notes. So best post-it note, I would just put like one type of product on there. But when I'm coming back to improve it, well, I have an opportunity to go over to Amazon, find 5 or 6 or 10 other products that are that fit the mold for that particular review, and then I'll add those in and add like a mini review for each one of those products. So let's say the mini reviews just cover the features, talk about a couple pros and cons, maybe a little bulleted list of those things, a few other specifications, and even if you just do that at a minimum, you're probably looking at 150 words or so. And if you just spend a little more time, put a little commentary in there, you could end up with about 400 words for each one of those mini reviews. So you put 5 products on there, you have another 2,000 words without really trying. That's pretty impressive. And for me, I usually publish KGR content that's about 1,000 words long. If you add another 2,000 words, of course, you've added a lot more content, and you're up at 3,000 words, which is a lot. When you do that, you end up with a lot more long tail keywords that you can pull in, and just more words on the page because of the mini reviews that you're adding in there. So that's #1, add more products. #2 is to add a more thorough buyer's guide. So if you have been paying attention to the content series over the last couple weeks, I just published part 3 yesterday. Can't believe it's only Tuesday, but I published it yesterday. If you take a look at that whole series, hopefully you'll learn a lot about content. But in part 1, I talk about the research paper method, or RPM. Basically, it consists of going and researching like the topic, whatever it may be. So let's say it's best post-it notes, and then you go out there, you look at all the best content about post-it notes, you check out the manufacturer site, you read forums, you find out what people are really worried about, maybe check out Facebook groups to see what kind of conversations are going on about post-it notes and all the things that are interesting about post-it notes and the trouble people have with post-it notes. Maybe they're not sticky enough on the back. And basically, you can go and develop a very tight outline, very thorough outline. And I've done this on multiple sites, and basically you don't want to change too much on the existing page. You can clean up some of the copy, you can clean up some of the verbiage and stuff like that, but you really just want to add to it. And if you do this research paper method, you end up with a really nice outline, hopefully, because you're consolidating all the best resources on the internet about that topic. Maybe there's Wikipedia also. You pull all that together, you put it in an outline. You can write it yourself if you want to. I don't usually want to do that ever. So I'll hire a writer, you give them the outline, you give them the resources that you used, and then usually they'll come up with a really good piece of content because you've given them all the stuff that they need. They just have to rephrase it. Hopefully they're a professional writer, so it's just a matter of synthesizing all that stuff into their own words, and you've given it to them on a silver platter. It's much easier for them to work with. So at that point, you add the content in, and in a lot of cases, you're adding like a massive amount of content. So the best example I have is from Project Go White Hat, where I added about 7,000 to 8,000 words to a 2,000 word post, and the traffic went up within 45 days by 40%, and so did the revenue. So it was not only bringing in more long tails and improving rankings generally, but it was bringing in like the right kind of traffic. It was mainly around a buyer's guide, so it was still bringing in like buyer's traffic, buyer's keywords. So that's number 2. Use the RPM method to add just more content around a buyer's guide. Number 3 is adding multimedia. So this is images. These are videos. Just by default, I usually put 2 to 4 images, usually Creative Commons images, and 1 YouTube video. But you can add really as many as you want. And the key thing here for the images, I usually will rename them to something that's keyword rich or relevant to the topic in some way. You could even go after some long tail keywords that you happen to know are out there. You can put, you can and should, right? You should rename the file to something keyword rich. Don't keyword stuff here, but keyword rich. You can put the alt description for the image, again, keyword rich, and you can put a caption, keyword rich. Partial match is kind of what I go for just in general, and all that builds relevancy around the specific topic that you're trying to rank for. That's what we're trying to do here. So if you put that extra stuff in there, these are the small details, right? These are the small details that when people are trying to throw a site up and maybe just publish super fast, they don't do the little things, and it's each of the little things probably is not going to make a huge difference, but when you put it all together, it does make a difference. Remember, we're going back to content that's already ranking kind of well, right? I mean, we're doing this to something that's ranking number 2, and then we're like tripling the content, we're adding more relevancy, we're adding images, videos, right? So the videos, you want to obviously have something that's relevant, but you get 2 benefits from it, at least. One is you could potentially keep people on your page longer just watching the video, and that's a good thing. It's a good sign to Google that traffic that's on your site is staying there longer, they're enjoying it. And then the second part is its relevancy to the topic. So Google understands the topic of what's on YouTube. I mean, at this point, they know what people are saying. You can get a transcript, like closed caption, like Google knows what you're saying. So, and YouTube knows what you're saying too on the videos. So if you put the videos that are relevant about the topic and helpful, Google and YouTube know that that's what your page is about. So in summary, I'll tie it all together. Thanks, Jeff, for making it on. Glad you enjoy the topic. When should you improve the content? Give it time to sit, at least 2 months, and there's no upper limit. You could always go back to improve content. So just be sure you give it time to rank naturally. You can see where it settles out. The 3 things that you can do, number 1 is review more products on the page. So that is specific for product reviews. You can add more. Number 2 is you can add more content. Usually a buyer's guide is the best way to get a huge amount of content and really get the long tail type keywords in there. I mentioned the research paper method, but there's also the FAQ method, which is also covered in part 1 of the content series. If you go to Niche Site Project and search for that, you should be able to find it. There's also a live training. So if you go to my YouTube channel, which you should be able to find easily, you can search for some of the live trainings on the, I think it's two ways to streamline your content production. And those are the 2 methods, RPM and FAQ methods, okay? And then the third thing you can do to improve content for your authority site or your niche site is to go ahead and add more images, add alt tags, add alt tags, captions, and the file name that are keyword rich, partial match, that sort of idea behind all of it. And then, you know, add 1 or more YouTube videos that are relevant to your topic. So that's all together. What questions do we have? I will say that, you know, creating shorter videos will be easier when I drink a whole cup of coffee before I come on here. I could just talk super fast. So that is helpful. While I'm waiting for the questions to come in, I ordered a light kit, right? So right now I'm using like a desk lamp with a couple like bright, very bright, like daylight type bulbs. So the coloring's right. I have a big window right here, but when I'm trying to shoot video in the other room with like my DSLR here, it's very difficult to like get the lighting even in many cases. And basically, I got a light kit, so it should be easier for me to like just set up the lights, shoot a bunch of video, and then have it evenly lit. Kind of funny, yesterday it was a little cloudy, so like the other room was just way darker than it normally is. Okay, Danish says, I always have confusion on alt tags. Please give some examples. You know, if you want to keep it simple, just put the exact caption or the exact text that you have for the caption in the alt tag. Basically, it's the alt tag is what shows up when, like for the accessibility, I'm not sure the right way to phrase it, the accessibility features. Let's say someone is like vision impaired, they can't read the page, but they have the page read out to them. It'll say like image, and then it'll read out whatever your alt tag is. So usually you could just put a caption in there. It could say like, hey, I really love, you know, pink square Post-it notes, but I also like blue ones, and then it happens to be a picture of these 2 kind of images. So does that answer your question, Danish? I mean, basically just put what the image is in there so that, you know, vision, hearing impaired, however the accessibility like works, they have that alt tag that pops up for them. Makes sense? I mean, the fact is people leave them blank most of the time, and a lot of times people don't put a caption in there. But if you know, people that are skimming, a lot of times some of the things that they'll read are the subheadings. They'll read tables, bulleted list, and then they'll usually take a look at the captions on images. They usually slow down, pause, take a look at the image, read the caption. So excellent. Any other questions out there? All right. Cool. And I'll hang on just a second. Sometimes it takes a minute or 2 for questions to roll in here. All right. Okay. Leo says, for embedded YouTube videos, are you brand loyal to the videos? For example, would you include a useful video from 3M if you were going to recommend an off-brand Post-it? Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't know that it matters a ton if you're providing like useful information that the buyer or visitor to your site may be interested in. So I wouldn't necessarily care if it's off-brand. Good question though. Danish says, how long does it take for a new domain name to rank? I think you mean like the keywords, right? Not, you don't really want the domain name to rank, do you? Okay. I'm going to assume you just mean how long does it take to rank. It could be, depending on the content, it could be 3 weeks if you're using keyword golden ratio type content, or it could be never. So someone recently sent me a question and it said, hey, I just published 200 posts. I'm not getting any traffic. Can you tell me, can you give me any advice? Well, I wish I could rewind and tell them not to publish 200 posts because they just spent a lot of time and money. They could be making money now. Unfortunately, they could be making money now. They could have traffic right now. But unfortunately, there's a beeping car backing up right. It sounds like they're right in the office with me, but they're across the street. It's very loud. Sorry. So basically, Danish, it could take up to like 6 months before you're like getting traffic, but it's kind of a weird question. So you should get a few people on your site within probably 6 weeks or so. If you follow like the protocol that I teach, which is a longer story that is beyond the scope of what I'm going to talk about today. But within 4 to 6 weeks, you should have a handful of people per day. Within 6 months, you should probably have about 100 people per day unique people visiting your site. And then you probably should be making about $100 a month at that point, and it should ramp up from there. Mary says, trying the KGR strategy, you created a post with 2,000 words. Google are ranking an existing post for the KGR keyword now. Should I be concerned or just give it time? Well, how long did you give it before? At some point, you can consolidate those two posts together, remove the duplicate information, consolidate the two posts, and then 301 redirect whatever you have, the post that you remove the content from 301, that post, to the new post that has all the content. That's how I handle it, and usually I give it plenty of time. You can make an attempt to let Google know that you want to rank the other one, so you can try and add some internal links using the exact keywords that you want to rank for and see what happens. Victor says, hope everything is going great. Keeping updated with the videos. Thanks, Victor. Appreciate it. Glad you made it on today. And then Mary says the existing post from the last question is general with lots of products. Google are using a jump link to product one that matches the KGR. Yeah, so maybe you can mess with it a little bit. There's no harm in changing up the title, changing up some of the subheadings, and adding more relevancy for the post that you're actually trying to rank. But at some point, you may just have to combine them. So Victor says, if you have a website in a specific language that already has very good authority in the country, do you think that an English version created in a new directory would have better chances to rank than a new subdomain? I have no idea. So I have no firsthand experience in this. I've never even thought of what you described, Victor. It's a really cool idea. My gut says that a new directory on the existing domain would indeed have a better chance of ranking faster. Knowing what I know about domains and like the authority that they can bring, I would imagine that it would actually be helpful. Yes. but I have no firsthand knowledge from it. I have no idea how it would work in practice. Okay, so I'm going to start to wrap it up here. You can send over a couple questions if you'd like. Couple cool things coming up this week. So I connected with you know, a YouTuber over at WP Eagle. You may have seen videos by him. He's a WordPress guy, as you might imagine. His name's Alex Cooper, and he's, you know, super cool. So I just connected with him last week, did an interview with him yesterday. I think the video interview is going to come out later on this week, so I'll share that with everyone. If you're not on the email list for Niche Site Project, go over to nichesiteproject.com, and basically there's a green button on the homepage. If you click the green button, you can sign up for the email list there. I'm going to send out a few things in the next few weeks. Some of it's around YouTube content, some of it is podcasts. I've been making the rounds, and a lot of stuff is actually going live like sooner than I expected. Sometimes it takes a while for this stuff to hit, but I guess people need content right now. So I'm trying to make the rounds, and I will say, if you listen to any podcast specific podcast that you like, that you think I may be a good guest on, I am trying to figure out like podcasts and even YouTube channels where I may be able to, you know, be a guest on there. I've had a little trouble with it in the past. You know, people often are, I mean, people are trying to promote themselves. That's what I'm trying to do also. But a lot of times people don't have the case studies or like just, you know, the chops to actually be on those podcasts. And I have like good case studies. I have interesting data. I'm like, you know, a practitioner of this material. So I am finding that people really appreciate that. The hosts of these channels and podcasts appreciate it, because there's a lot of people that just regurgitate the same material over and over again. Maybe they're talking about stuff that worked like 4 years ago, and they don't actually do anything with Amazon right now. So if you know any podcasts or YouTube channels, now the YouTube channels and the podcast, they probably need to be like non-competitors with me, right? So I can't go to my competitors and they're probably just going to tell me to take a hike. So that's just the way it is. But areas that are really good are, you know, people that are like Alex. So he talks about WordPress and blogging and WordPress development, but a lot of people are very interested in the Amazon affiliate program. Alex has had some success with you know, drop shipping, some other areas like, well, even Amazon and AdSense, and he's been in the ecosystem for a while, but he, you know, he doesn't have like the big long stories like I have, the long case studies to point to. So that's why I was a good fit there. Another direct competitor. So anyway, if you have any ideas for people that I may be a good match for, let me know. Shoot me an email. You can leave me a comment or whatever. There's lots of ways to get in touch with me. So, okay, Victor says, cool. So that was his logic on the like other languages and stuff. I think that's a great way. Let me know how it goes. Wesley says, how early do I start these? You never seem to catch the beginning. I've been trying to do them at 10 a.m. Mountain Time, and I'm going to probably keep that up for the rest of the week. However, starting next week, I'll publish a schedule, but I'm not going to do as many live streams because basically, like right now, there's 12 people watching. I've had as many as 20 or so, but I really need to create shorter videos that are more evergreen. These are very cool for people to hop on and ask questions, get good information. Unfortunately, it like totally breaks up my morning, right? So it's like right in the middle of my morning, and I just need to do it on fewer days, and then I'll be okay. I'll probably do it, you know, 2 days a week and publish more videos that are tighter and shorter. So instead of spending, you know, whatever 30 minutes, it's going to be the 5-minute videos I was talking about before. So, all right, cool. Thanks for joining up today, and hopefully you found it useful. If you have the opportunity to click the thumbs up if you're watching live, or if you're watching the recording, click the thumbs up. I appreciate it. If you have questions, leave a comment below, and I will answer. See ya tomorrow.